Hello, everyone, and welcome to my podcast. This is Barbara Howard, and today is March the 10th, 2021, and this is episode number 10. I had mentioned before that I have a large extended family that I connect with whenever I'm writing to get answers for and advice for pretty much anything, between law enforcement procedures and weapon choices to fashion to fishing, you name it. I've got somebody that can answer that question. So we were talking the other day about hair. And not just hair, but gray hair. And not just gray hair, but my gray hair. I have had gray hair since I was 11 years old. I inherited that wonderful trait from my father, who was premature gray. So I had a gray streak in my bangs. I wore bangs as a little girl. And so that's where my gray hair started coming through. By the time I was finished with college and starting my career, I had more gray hair in my hair than my mother did. So it's always been there. It's always been part of my life, as far back as I can remember anyway. And I would get compliments about, oh, I just love your gray hair. I think it's so pretty. I like the way it shines, blah, blah, blah. And the same people, when their gray hair started to come in, they immediately went to the salon or to the drugstore and dyed it and covered it up. And the guys would shave their heads bald rather than let the gray show. I was talking with a cousin, and she said that when her gray hair tries to come in after she's dyed her hair, she will pluck it out or cut it off. If she sees little strands of silver around her ears or along the temple. I said, you would rather pluck your hair out than let it come in gray? And pretty much everyone that I talked to said, I like it a lot. I just don't like it on me. I like it on you. I'm just not ready for it. And I thought, well, that's really interesting. I guess for me, I never had a choice to say, am I ready for it? Am I ready for this? It was just who I was. It was just always there. It was just me. And I never had to make a conscious decision about the color of my hair until after I got older, again in my career, I decided, let me go ahead and get one of those real cute, trendy haircuts and dye my hair. And I found the best colorist in the area. I set up my appointment. I had a standing appointment there. I saw 5 different people whenever I went into the salon. There was one person who only did color, another person who only did cuts, another person who only did hot oil treatments, and so forth and so on. It was expensive, but it was worth it. Plus, they had the best bagel shop right next door, and they took real good care of me. So that was my standing appointment that I always got my hair done. Every 2 weeks, sometimes every 3 weeks. It just depended. So I did that for quite a few years. And then as time passed, I became someone's caregiver. And anyone out there that's had to step into that role, you understand that a lot of your personal choices get pushed to the side. And you can be totally consumed by the needs of someone else. And so that's what happened to me for quite a few years. And then once the person passed on, I was faced with personal choices, and not just 1 or 2, but suddenly it was like waking up after a nightmare, and I had dozens of things in my own life that I had to suddenly decide. And the funny thing, and not in a funny way, but I just didn't want to make a decision about anything, let alone my hair. It doesn't seem like it's a big deal, but when you're inundated and you're just, overwhelmed emotionally and physically drained, it was a big decision. And I decided not to decide. I just let it grow. And of course, the gray hair came roaring back in again. It would not be denied. It's like in Mother Nature, left to her own devices, Mother Nature will reclaim it will reclaim the land. It will reclaim everything. And that's what happened. And my gray hair all came back through and said, this is who you are. We're back. So I just let it grow. And then I decided I'm going to shave my head. I don't want to worry about hair color. I don't want to worry about haircuts. A lot of ladies out there get their hair shaved off and they look cute. And then I looked at the shape of my head and I thought, nah, you're not going to look cute. So I left it alone. And by not deciding, I decided. And there I was, once again, back to who I always was. Now, what does this have to do with writing? Well, I tell you. And I'm looking right at you authors out there who write to market, where you can go and research what's the trending genre for now, and you pick up a couple of books on that particular genre, and you go for it. And then there are others who stick to one specific genre, and they are committed to learning everything about that and writing strictly for that audience. What happens when you start writing your story and your characters start making decisions that you were not planning? Typically, you just let it go and you go with the flow, but suddenly you find yourself wandering and weaving across the road to perhaps going from cozy to suspense, or from suspense into psychological thriller, or from fantasy into horror, or what in the world's going on now? I know someone who was writing a romance story and the editor told her that, no, this is women's fiction. And you find yourself wandering over into a totally different category for your book. Do you let it go? Do you just go for it? Do you then decide, okay, I'm just going to make this commitment. I'm going to let the characters and let the story become whatever it wants to become? Or do you chop it up and get back in your lane? That's the question. Now, for me, I like to stay in my lane. I like to plot, outline, plot, and stay there. I do let it wander and meander to a nice, satisfying finish, at least in my mind. But I like to stick to one specific genre. In my case, it's mystery. But I'm real curious about how those who write to market and those who are comfortable switching to a different category or different genre when you're in the midst of writing your project. I'm real curious about that. So I'd love to hear your feedback on how you handle it. How do you handle that sort of thing? All right. I've got a wonderful interview going on over on the YouTube channel called Beyond the Bookshelf. The young woman's name is Tanisha Brown, and she is a fabulous professional interviewer. I loved every second of it. Please go over and check out her channel. She's got plenty of other videos up, of course, but I think you might like mine. So that's Beyond the Bookshelf on YouTube. Also, the virtual book tour for me is going to start March the 24th. That one's going to run until April the 6th, and then the second one starts April the 12th over to May the 12th. I'll list everything on my website as I get the details for that. And my website is barbarahowardmedia.com. Follow me on all the socials. I'd love to hear from you. All right, take care. I'll talk to you again real soon.